I remember there was a bridge someplace in this area. And the school was over in there. Oh, is that it? We came out, we ran.
You probably ran straight down.
We ran straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ran home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight down there. Yo, flying.
You bet you we were. Teenagers can run when they have to. This was the theater. And we used to come here every Sunday afternoon.
And so then.
That's where the movie theater was?
Yes. That's where we are.
You think this was the foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the foundation.
Mom would say, "Oh yeah, we live down there. That's Vanport." But I'm like, "Okay, Delta Park.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. Where?
It's huge down here."
It is huge. It was a city.
Imagine all this stuff, all this underwater.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Oh, that's
Yeah, to imagine
That is
all of it
really
was
something.
underwater.
It was underwater.
After you. So we know what we're talking about?
No, never.
Okay, good.
A small group of multimedia film producers is getting ready for a weekend event built around their oral history project commemorating the Vanport Flood. Referred to by some as Oregon's Hurricane Katrina, the flood washed away the entire city of Vanport on May 30th, 1948, and drove the African American community into the Albina neighborhood, the only place most black families were allowed to own homes at the time. Let's get started by describing Vanport City.
Vanport actually was the largest military housing project during World War II. It was the home of shipbuilders. It had a significant history with African Americans, but also Japanese families, Native Americans. They went to church together, they went to school together. So it was an amazing community that was built practically overnight, and it was washed away overnight as well.
Talk a little bit about how our understanding of what happened that day and people's experiences was enriched by this project you're doing.
You know, we identify people and communities with the worst things that have happened to them. And we never go further, we never follow through in terms of, you're more than that, and how did you overcome? Why don't we ask that question? And the Vanport story, to me, it's the response to that question.
And it also gives you an idea of how Portland today is what it is. The legacy of moving people from one area to another has been history, and it's still going on today.
Yeah, I think we are out of time, unfortunately.
Come join us at Vanport Mosaic.
Yeah, can you give our listeners the details of that?
There's going to be 3 screenings, but there's also a play, Cottonwood in the Flood. There are tours and speakers at what used to be Vanport. There is an exhibit that's curated by Kim Morland here and myself. Let's see you there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you all for coming. You know, Vanport, for those of you who don't know a ton about it, it's an amazing story and has a lot to do with the diversity in Portland. And so I would love to hand the mic to Laura LaForte.
This event, it's actually really the opening of the Vanport Mosaic Festival. This project started actually in 2014, was supposed to be 6 months, and we are still here 3 years later. We offer free workshops where we train anyone, oral history, media making skills, and then together we ask the questions, we discover new layers of the story. And so when people say, oh, you're telling an untold story. Well, no, the people who lived there kept it alive. We were just not paying attention.
So we'll start off with the first set of films, and then we'll kind of share the prompt and we'll jump into that discussion.
I was born in Arkansas in 1935.
My father came to Portland, Oregon after the war.
I had asked my mother, do you think we'll be back by Tuesday?
It was my first introduction of race awareness or interracial relationships. Somehow it impacted me. And I will always carry that.
We were taught colorblindness know. And so I've just, but it made me feel really ignorant. It's much easier to be colorblind. I'd much rather go back to that where I can just pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
But I know it does, and it's so hurtful.
How we got here and the redlining and gentrification and how, I definitely feel part of that.
I don't think there are general people who like look at you and go, darn it, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's a larger plan, strategic, systemic issue.
Yeah.
That holds up and maintains, power and privilege for a certain folk. And so for you, it's like, oh my gosh, of course I'm going to move to this great space, and it works for my family. And I don't think you did it in this egregious way of like, and I'm going to hurt and harm all these black people who are forced here.
10 years ago, this community was about 75% African American, and it's now almost completely flipped. So there's like 35% African American. Tremendous amount of gentrification in the neighborhood, and a lot of maybe unresolved tension around that.
This evening was an attempt to bring people together, to use history and to develop community, which starts with communication.
People that are here who don't know the history don't understand where some of the really strong feelings come from and why people feel the way they do.
People that have been here 45 years, people that have been here 8 months, like myself, both walked out of here wanting more.
All right. We're going to Vancouver Avenue Baptist Church, get everything all set up and ready for the private dinner for the Vanport survivors. We don't really have a big program. We want them to mingle. Or I should say us. We want us to mingle. I was 13 when we came to Vanport. We didn't know what a shipyard was, but it was coming to work. I used to work as a community health nurse, but most of my work was done in North and Northeast Portland, so I know those areas. I remember those places. But you see, Williams Avenue is so built up. I never dreamed that we would have these type of buildings on this street.
What was it like?
It was homes. All of this, I never thought they would build it up like this. This is really a blessing to me to be able to do, to get to talk about it, and to meet other people that were there.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the peel is right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
However y'all want to do it.
And the cooler goes out, and the table goes down there.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again.
It was 68 years ago when the cold, muddy waters carried away my first ever bike. That bike, along with the household and personal belongings, were lost in this fast swirling waters. Life would not be the same. Oregon's second largest city was now underwater, and thousands of our families had to find shelter in nearby Portland or in Vancouver, Washington. Whereas, and in order to understand where we're going, it is critical that we understand where we have come from.
Yes, yes.
And whereas a dedicated
group of Portland residents have organized an inaugural festival to honor and celebrate Vanport as an essential and often forgotten chapter in Portland's history, as it was the catalyst for the racial mosaic that now exists in Portland and around the state of Oregon. Now, I,
Charlie Hales, Mayor of the City of Portland, the City of Roses.
Charlie Hales, Mayor of the City of Portland, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim May 30th, 2016 to be Vanport Day of Remembrance. Urge all residents to observe this.
I have lost things from my past, but this I can pass on. This I'll have forever.
It's important to preserve these stories.
Not only is it timely, it shows that people sort of are recognizing the fact that it's really the time to do it.
Welcome to Cottonwood in the Flood, presented as part of the Inaugural Vanport